Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
And I'm Ian.
Ian, why are you whispering? You know, I will say that when I go back to listen to the show, when you whisper like that, I can't even fucking hear you.
Really?
Yeah, I have to
I hear myself in the headphones.
I know that, but like when it doesn't necessarily translate into like regular audio really well.
Ah.
So I actually have to go back and take, when you whisper like that, I have to take that section and actually raise the volume up on it.
Huh.
So you're not like, because it sounds like you're going, and like you can't even hear it.
Interesting.
So, and you probably couldn't even hear what I just did. So it probably just sounded like
I heard it in the headphones.
Yeah, but you probably,
I didn't hear what you were saying, but I
Yeah.
heard the like sounds. But.
So yeah, when you whisper like that, you can't really hear it all that well.
Sounds like I'm just giving you more work. I feel like I should start whispering more often.
You can go to hell. You can go to hell and die.
Yeah.
So what's been going on, Ian?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Nope. You and I agree on something on the new Jeff Chapelle album cover.
Yeah,
we don't like it.
Yeah,
that's about it. Very rare do we agree on anything Tull related, but we agree on that.
So I know you're not a big sports fan.
I am not.
But do you know who Aaron Rodgers is?
I do, and I know the story.
You know the story?
Yes.
Okay. Because I want to kind of talk about that for a minute because I've always been kind of a big Aaron Rodgers fan. You know, I liked him when he played in college at Cal. I was glad when he got drafted by the Packers because I was kind of somewhat of a Packers fan, even though, you know, living in Michigan, obviously I'm a big Lions fan. And
Is it the mullet?
Huh?
Is it the mullet?
What mullet?
He has a mullet.
Well, he didn't have a mullet then.
Oh, okay.
It's not a mullet, Ian. It's a moulet.
Oh, sorry.
You gotta be fancy about it.
I think the moulet is what leads us to this conversation, if you ask me. But
so, if you've been living under a rock, the NFL obviously has a vaccine mandate, and they've got guidelines in place if you're not vaccinated.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers earlier this year was in a press conference. It was brought up. They asked him if he was vaccinated, and he
said he was immunized.
He was immunized. And so everyone kind of just assumed that meant he was vaccinated.
Right.
And apparently he went to the NFL and asked to be classified as vaccinated because he used alternative methods. I don't know what fucking
ivermectin.
No, I don't think it was.
Whatever it was, he got the idea from Joe Rogan.
I will say, like, real quick, though, on ivermectin, that, like, a lot of people have been talking about, like, there is human application for ivermectin. Like, you can use...
If you get worms.
But that's the other thing. Like, I've seen... Several times I've seen people post in regards to this story. Well, you know, ivermectin's it's a... well, what's the one congresswoman from Georgia, the really kind of crazy one?
Oh, Taylor Greene?
Yeah. She in an interview, she said that ivermectin won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Which it didn't win
You can't rely on Marjorie Taylor Greene to say anything accurate about anything.
Well, she wasn't like totally wrong. I mean, she was because it didn't win the
Peace Prize.
Nobel Peace Prize. Ivermectin didn't win anything. So
right.
Two scientists who used it to fight a very specific kind of roundworm, I think it was, in humans, won the Nobel Prize for Science several years ago, I think it was. Right. But so there is human application for it. And where the ivermectin story kind of came from is last year there were a couple of scientists in Europe who were able to kill the COVID-19 virus with ivermectin in a laboratory.
In a laboratory, right.
But since then, that same result hasn't been able to be replicated in human use.
Right.
You know, actually using it in humans, and the amount of ivermectin that they had to use in lab was higher than the FDA allows. Right. Because ivermectin is toxic at high levels.
Well, and I would imagine that in the test, and I could be wrong, but in the test, that's applying ivermectin directly to a virus, whereas in the body, it has to go through the body. It's kind of like if you apply bleach to a virus, it's going to die. But if you drink bleach, it's not going to kill the virus. It's going to kill you.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I guess if it kills you, it does kill the virus.
Yeah, I mean, by default,
by
sure.
default. But Yeah, you're. I don't think it was ivermectin that he was saying that he.
It was probably one of the ingredients that they were, Or are you talking about Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. No, he something. The way it was explained that I saw was holistic.
Yeah,
holistic means.
But I'm going to tell
which basically means like crystals and shit.
Maybe,
yeah.
But yeah, so the NFL declined or denied his application, listed him as unvaccinated, and then he didn't follow any of the guidelines.
Right.
And actually, the Packers got fined. I don't remember what it was, a couple $100,000, which is pocket change to NFL franchise that makes literally billions of dollars every single year.
Right.
And Aaron Rodgers, I think, was fined like $14,000.
Which his contract's what, a couple million at least a year?
His contract is probably $25 million a year plus.
Yeah, so $14,000 is like $14
less than pocket change.
Right.
So there's a couple of NFL teams, several NFL teams that have been very vocal about how easy the NFL went on Aaron Rodgers in the NFL.
Yeah,
because they're being forced to follow all these guidelines and they're not enforcing anything.
Right. Well, this is how I look at it, and this is not my original idea. I saw this on a post, and I totally agree with it. Aaron Rodgers lied and endangered the lives of other people around him and got a week off.
Which he wasn't the only one to do it.
No, but he got a week off and a small fine. Whereas Colin Kaepernick just kneeled during the national anthem and lost his entire fucking career. Yeah. I'd say that there's a problem there.
Well, there's also a lot of different things that I think that's really kind of I understand the point that it's trying to make, but that's almost kind of like an apples and oranges kind of situation.
How? One is about a fucking symbol in a song. The other one is about people's lives.
Well, because no, like I said, I understand the reasoning behind it. Like the NFL didn't necessarily take a stance against Colin Kaepernick. First off, Colin Kaepernick was not a great football player, first off. And I think that there was He
could have played for the Lions. Because you could be a shitty player and play with the Lions.
Not at that time.
No, but he still could have.
He probably could now, but yeah.
I thought he was banned from the NFL.
No, the NFL never took a stance against Colin Kaepernick. It was, I think, all the owners who are all old white men.
Probably did, yeah.
Probably did, but I don't think the NFL actually ever did.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's why I said I think there is some difference there. But no, I completely understand the
outrage of that.
Yeah, I did see the meme, and that does make sense. But for so behind Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers aside, why are people taking health advice from fucking Joe Rogan? I will tell you right now, I know Joe Rogan is a very popular person. He's the most listened to podcast, whatever it is. Right. I've never been a Joe Rogan fan.
Me neither.
And I hold on. I saw
and I've listened to a few of his shows because he's had certain people on. I was like, oh, I'll listen to that. And I mean, I've never heard him say anything specifically like, oh, this guy's an asshole. But I've kind of got the feeling he's kind of an asshole just from listening to him talk.
Someone commented on, because Joe Rogan put this post a post up on social media. I don't remember where I took this. I took a screenshot of it. Whatever it says, America before all the sissies took over, and it's this boy on a tricycle with a toy gun, riding out into the street. I don't really whatever. It's a stupid fucking picture.
They still sell toy guns in the store, so kids still have them.
But I love the comment on here. There's a comment on here. He says Joe Rogan is the poster child for mediocre men that have nothing to offer but feel like they have been taken advantage of. But feel like they have been taken advantage of. It says bunch of big crybabies. I don't really know.
People don't use
people use
punctuation anymore,
or very poor grammar. Yeah, in English.
Poor grammar, and definitely punctuation makes the difference. People.
Yes. You're right, because that is a.
There should be a comma in there.
No, I think there should be a period there.
Period,
it should be.
Oh yeah,
it should be. Joe Rogan is poster child for mediocre men that have nothing to offer but feel they've been taken advantage of. Period. Bunch of big crybabies.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it should be. But it's very true though. It's but first off, you should not be taking health advice from someone that's not a medical fucking professional.
Right.
And when I say medical, you should not be taking health advice even within the medical community, you should not be taking health advice from people that are not doctors.
Right. I agree 100%.
Because we work with nurses that you should not be following their health advice.
Not the health advice they offer for themselves, at least.
Yes. Or, So, the whole Joe Rogan thing, obviously, and I will say that it's not really just Joe Rogan.
No, it's not. He's a big voice, though, in there.
But another one, and one that's I've been kind of surprised by, is Russell Brand. Like, he has always been someone that's been very outspoken on a lot of different topics. And for the most part, I've kind of agreed with a lot of the stuff he's said over the years.
He went really kind of, and I understand why, but when he went through drug rehab, he went kind of fundamentalist religious. And for the most part, that's fine, because I understand where it came from and what need there was for that. But it changed a lot of his views.
Yeah.
And not all of them for the best.
No, now he's like this big conspiracy nut.
And that's what I was meaning.
And I've watched a couple of his videos, and I was like, because I'm always kind of interested in even like the crazy, weird, stupid shit people think and why they think it. Hence kind of the whole reason why we even talk about conspiracy theories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like a lot of the stuff he was going on about, I'm like, and I didn't know that he had this like huge
religious conversion.
Not even religious conversion, but like a conversion in his overall thinking.
Right.
And
it wasn't overnight. It kind of gradually, because when he first got out of rehab, it was kind of like, well, God's the most important thing in my life, and it's gotten me through this, and that's fine. But then he started becoming vocal on like doing his own podcast and doing YouTube channel videos and things like that. And things started to get crazier and crazier as they went along.
But he had this whole video about how Joe Rogan made a fool of CNN because he called out CNN because CNN was kind of wrong. There was a video that I saw where CNN kind of made fun of the Joe Rogan's doctor for prescribing him ivermectin. Mm-hmm. There are doctors out there, even though there has been zero, proof that ivermectin actually works to reduce, viral load or improve your risk or improve your chances of surviving it. That doesn't stop people from prescribing it.
Right.
So CNN did kind of make fun of Joe Rogan, make fun of Joe Rogan's doctor about it all. Mm-hmm. And then Joe Rogan made like this big fucking ordeal about it. Like, of course he does on his TV, on his YouTube channel or podcast.
No different than Tucker Carlson and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Russell Brand had this whole fucking video about it. And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, here's a guy who has literally millions of fucking followers. Millions of followers on YouTube, on Instagram, all the social media accounts. He is someone that a lot of people look to, not only for entertainment but for information.
Which they shouldn't, but they do.
And that's kind of where I'm going with all this. Is you have individuals like Russell Brand, like Joe Rogan, that have the right to have their own beliefs. I'm not saying that they have to think a certain way. Right. I think that overall, us as a society need to stop looking at fucking people that have absolutely no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Right. For society that pushes for, being the leader and not so much the follower, we do an awful lot of following.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's easier.
It is easier.
You don't have to critically think.
Well, the problem is we're not taught to critically think anymore. I'm not even sure if our generation.
I don't know if we ever really were, but
I think our parents to some degree were, and I think at least on a college level, our grandparents, if they went to college, which is very unlikely. I don't think any of our did any of your grandparents go to college?
Mine did not.
Neither, none of mine did either. But I think they learned to critically think on their own because just of the time period. They weren't exposed to. If you needed to learn something, you had to actually learn it.
Yeah.
And there were ways to do that. But I think our parents, because I've talked to my mom and my dad about, their education, and I know how our education was. We were not taught to critically think.
No.
Not at least not on most things. Maybe if we took advanced classes, we were, but even in the advanced classes that I took, which weren't many, we weren't really taught to critically think. And I know kids today are not.
No.
At all. So that's really the problem right there. If you're not taught how to think for yourself, or if you're taught that do as I say, and if you think that, you're thinking for yourself, because that's what it is. It's like, don't be a sheep, think for yourself, and here's all the information you need to do it.
And now comply.
And not right. And if you don't agree with this, you're not thinking critically.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just don't. Like, I've talked about a long time, and, at length on this podcast about how much I hate social media.
Right.
And that's the reason why.
It's not the cause, but it's the amplifier.
Yes.
And when we're talking amplifying, we're talking about the level of amplification that you get from a magnifying glass in the sun.
Yeah.
That kind of danger level of magnification. So that is the problem, but it's not the cause. It's just it's the method by which it's spread.
Speaking of lack of critically thinking.
Okay.
So I'm going to read you a title.
Okay.
And then you can react to it.
Okay. Is it a title of a song, a book, or a headline?
This is a headline.
Okay, headline. Okay.
It says, this is from NBC News. It says, man killed his daughter's boyfriend for selling her into sex trafficking ring, police say.
Yes, I actually saw that headline, but I didn't read into it.
What, like, when you hear that, though, what's your first reaction to that?
On the surface, I guess first gut reaction is good for him.
Because that was mine also. But then it quickly kind of changed.
But then I'd be like, but then the thinking starts kicking in. It's like, okay, well, how did he know she was sold into sex trafficking? At what point don't you get the police involved? I mean, there's a lot of different factors that start to creep in beyond that emotional response of good for him,
Yeah. Because that's kind of where I was. When I first read that, I was like, good, and then and that was like my reaction for literally 5 seconds. And I was like,
then you start thinking about it.
What exactly gives him the right to, that's why we have a legal system,
right?
To address things like that. And, and I of course, me being me, I start scrolling through comments because it was posted on Facebook. And, a lot of the comments on here were, good for the father. He did what he knew, he did what he knew was right. Did he? Because it sounds like he broke the law also.
Right.
I'm not trying to justify the boyfriend selling the daughter into a sex trafficking ring.
And I mean, I guess it's one of those situations where you don't really know what you as a father would do. I mean, you would have a better understanding of this as a father of a daughter. But what would you do if for whatever, I mean, not even sex trafficking, but if a guy came or anyone hurt your daughter in a way that was equivalent to that, what would you do? I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
And I know the first response for
most fathers would be, I'm going to kill him.
I'm going to kill him. But I think a lot of people say that, and then when they're put in that situation, probably can't do it.
Right.
Because it takes a lot to take someone's life.
If you have morality, if you're a moral and ethical person, killing someone, even for that reason, is not an easy thing to do. I would imagine. I can't think of anything. I mean, that would probably be the closest thing I could actually think of that would actually bring me to want to kill somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could do it.
There's a lot of comments like this on here. It says, and I saw quite a few of these, I see nothing wrong here. Let the father go. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's one guy that responded to that post that says, I won't mourn his victim's death, but this man still killed somebody. Has this world gone completely off the rails? And
that's what I think. And for me, if say it were me, I personally, if I were to kill somebody who hurt my daughter, I would know that doing what I'm doing is for me and for my daughter, but not for the rest of the society. I am breaking a law, and I should have to be punished for that. It's his revenge. He's doing it. It's for him. There's no societal justification for that.
Yeah.
So maybe he was right to do it on that level, but legally he is culpable for murder.
This is not, 1422.
Right. In this society, what he did was wrong.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or not, if you agree with it, that's fine. But you also have to agree that he has to go to jail for that.
But another one says, please take it to trial so us fathers of daughters can proudly vote not guilty. Like, I don't know. Like, given because I did read the article, but I screenshot this like 2 weeks ago, so I don't really remember all the circumstances.
I was gonna say I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline, and like you said, at that point, my first reaction was good, but then I was like, but what are the details of that? Because there's a lot to unpack there.
There's another one. Where's his GoFundMe? I want to donate. I don't think there are any good fathers in this world who wouldn't do the same.
That's not that. That's creating a litmus test for fatherhood now.
Yeah,
based on how willing you are to kill. For your daughter?
I think someone else posted on here said, "Isn't this literally the plot of Taken?" I think it is. It's kind of.
It kind of is. Yeah. Did this guy have a particular set of skills?
By the way, I will say the person that posted that said that it seems justified to him and that the guy should be let free. Another one said, "We, the jury, find you not guilty." That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Yeah. Public opinion is not a jury. At least it shouldn't be.
Yeah, another one. If I was in that jury, I would feel there's not enough evidence that this father killed him. Sorry, not enough to convict for me. Like, you don't even know the fucking evidence.
Right. Not only that, but I mean, like I said, I need to know some details. If he sold her into sex trafficking, that means she disappeared, right? Or was he just prostituting her out?
I think he was probably just prostituting her out, I believe.
So there's a lot of other people who probably should have died by that same standard then.
Another one says, so this article is about a hero. Because he murdered. I mean, like, like I said, like, I understand, like, the gut
on that primal level,
gut instinct of good for him, but like, this is 2021. We have to live in a fucking civilized society. Like, you can't just murder people,
right? Whether they deserve it or not.
If your own life is at risk, like, if the imminent harm, like someone is breaking into your house to attack you and your family, that is justified.
In a situation,
this is not justified.
If he walked in and this guy was killing his daughter,
that's justified.
Then it's justified for him to fight and possibly kill that man.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, again, it's horrendous what this person did. If that's what
if he did it.
That's the other thing. There has to be some kind of an investigation, some study, so that how do you know he did that? How do you know she wasn't just doing it on her own? Yeah. I don't want to victim shame or anything, but
you don't know the circumstances.
Women go into prostitution all the time of their own volition.
Yeah.
And I'm sex positive. I don't have a problem with that if that's what you want to do. I do have a problem with them having to do it to pay for a drug habit, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But
drugs should be legal anyway, but whatever.
Right.
Another one, give the guy a medal. He did what the law will never do.
Because if the law allows that, then anyone who wrongs you can be murdered. Do we really want to go back to the time of I want to duel you for harming my pride or whatever it was. You've disgraced my honor.
Yeah.
Let's duel and you must die.
Sounds like he did the right thing, not guilty for me. Yeah, it's just and it's like literally hundreds and hundreds of comments like that on that post.
Yeah,
and it's like I said, we
don't know what we would do in a situation like that, but I'm not going to sit here and say that guy is free to go.
Yeah, like I will tell you, like I remember reading the article about it and thinking to myself, if I was on the jury, I would have a hard time just blanketly saying not guilty.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's just as you should anyway on any jury. But given the circumstances and what you already know, Yeah, I want to know, me personally, I want to know the details. And, I mean, if there's a smoking gun, like, he goes and says, yeah, I killed that guy because he did this.
Yeah.
That's a confession.
Yeah.
Murder is, motive of murder is usually just used to establish level of guilt.
Yeah.
But the guilt is still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whether or not he deserved it is not really the question. That's just to determine what level of punishment maybe you should get.
Yeah. It's just
but you still have to get punished.
But like I said, that kind of goes back to the just kind of lack of critical thinking.
And this weird need for our society to harken back to a different time that really, if we lived it, we wouldn't have liked it. We kind of romanticized.
Yeah, exactly. They harken back to a time that never fucking existed.
Right. Yeah, we've romanticized this ancient time of chivalry and honor and, where men were men.
It's all fake. It's all fake.
It doesn't exist. It's not real. It does exist. It exists in the movies of the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah.
And maybe the 40s. That's about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really exist beyond that.
No.
So I don't know.
The bloodlust and everything else, it's just, I don't know. It's just fucking stupid.
Well, I've been saying that for years. I've never understood, even before the term toxic masculinity ever came up, I never understood this idea of, having these predetermined criteria for what it means to be a man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they're talking about. A lot of these, did what a man would do to protect his daughter. I mean,
yeah.
I've just never had any understanding of that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I don't know. I just don't get it. That's the world we live in, though.
I think it's the world we've always kind of lived in, though.
Yeah, but it's really bad now because I think we're coming to a point where I think society overall is starting to realize that that's not a healthy way to live, and that's not a real thing, which is why we're now in a time where LGBTQ rights are starting to actually have meaning, and trans rights are hopefully starting to have some meaning. And the definitions of masculinity and femininity are blurring. I think that's a good thing, and that's because we're moving away from that. And I think the people who are really clinging onto that are making it worse because they will not let it go.
It's going to be like that for I think a long time.
Right.
Now.
Well, it's just like race issues as far as like, say, interracial marriage. It took a long time for that to be accepted, even when it wasn't illegal, just to be accepted. Mm-hmm. And now, hopefully, I think at least in most circles, it's still it's pretty well accepted. But granted, 50 years ago, it wasn't even legal in most states.
No, I think that people, 60 years from now, I think people will look back at this period of modern American history as
the way we look at like the 60s civil rights.
Yes.
Yeah. How white people were back then. I think, I hope so. I hope so. But
because it will, because as older generations die off,
right,
the population becomes more accepting.
The only thing I wonder is, for every transgendered they or them out there,
which I have a hard time saying, but
I do too, and because it's a change of language, and language is hard to change once you get to a certain age, especially. But for every transgendered they or them out there, how many Kyle Rittenhouses are there out there?
Yeah.
Because those are the generations that we're hoping are going to be better than us.
Yeah. But though, I believe
I think there's more of the transgender theys and thems than there are the Kyle Rittenhouses. But, how many generations is it going to take for us to get to the point where there's no more of them?
I don't know if we'll ever be to a point where there are no more.
I think so. I mean, nowhere near, it's going to take a long time. We're talking maybe a century or better, but I think there will come a time when that will be gone.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one of the things that would help, at least in the short term, is, and I'm going to talk specifically about a situation with a transgender person, but it kind of goes with anyone that's in a minority situation, whether it's black, Latino, Asian, gay, LGBT, whatever. When you're in a situation, there was a situation where I witnessed a individual come in who was transgender, where I immediately recognized in this patient's medical chart that they were transgender. But the nurse that was sitting next to me did not. And accidentally referred to the person by their birth gender and not
Their identity.
Their identity. And the transgender person, do you say transgender person? I think that's what it is. But anyway,
I would think so. It sounds right to me.
They were upset about it, and I don't think handled it, like, almost got really like mad that they were called the wrong gender. And I think, like, to help the ease in transition, I know it's easy for me to say this as a straight white male, that it's going to happen a lot over the course of your life where people are going to assume you're a female when you have transitioned to a male, or when you were a male and you transitioned to a woman. Either way,
Right.
people are going to assume a certain thing, and you have to approach it in a better way, in a more friendlier way, and just kind of like correct the situation, and not like, oh my God, I'm this, or no, I'm that, and almost be like outwardly offended is kind of how this individual took the situation. And I don't think it like bothered the nurse or me. I just thought to myself, if she was, or I don't remember what gender it was. I don't remember which way they did transition. If they were now a male or now a female, I don't remember. I didn't pay that much attention initially. But if the person they were talking to was somebody who had issues with transgender individuals, having that like immediate, almost like negative reaction, kind of it solidifies their belief.
Yeah, I think there are extremes on both sides, and even though one side is the right side, there can still be wrong extremes. Take, for example, the feminist movement. It has been in some ways co-opted by a slightly extreme subset of women who are like, men are the devil, and
men are the devil, but
no, we're not. No, we're not. The only pain I have ever caused a woman is just lack of satisfaction. That's the worst I've ever done. And maybe making them laugh too hard. I maybe, pain the gut a little bit from that. But, so, I mean, that's extreme. Do men need to learn? Yeah, men need to learn a lot. But, we're not the fucking devil.
No.
So that, there is extremes. There has to be understanding. And I think, the only experience I've ever had at work, really, it's the only experience I've ever had that I can really think of directly. There was used to be a woman, was transitioning. She wasn't there yet. I think it was fairly new. But there was no note in the chart. I checked her in. She gave me her name and then said, but I identify as a him and I'd like to be called this.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, that's not a problem. We'll just have to change it in the chart, have registration do that. And then when I turned to the nurse, I explained that to the nurse. And it was very simple. It was very clean and everyone's happy. Yeah. That's all I require. I don't need you to teach me, but just at least let me know what you want.
Yeah.
I can't read your mind.
Yeah.
And we're in a society now where gender identities are blurring, where even someone who identifies as a man may still walk in wearing a dress or what is identified or previously identified as female clothing. Mm-hmm. That happens too. Or they may not identify with any gender. I'm not going to know that unless you tell me.
Yeah.
So there has to be some understanding, because you see that a lot in some of the more extreme. It's not my responsibility to teach you. It is.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's not that I don't want to. I just don't.
Yeah.
Same with the they them thing.
I'm with you, but I need you to help me get there.
Right. I want to support you. I want to support whatever it is that you want to be, but I don't know what that is until you tell me.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's the same with the they and them thing. I don't understand that. I was taught language that is not as bad as other languages, but language is sometimes gender based. Mm-hmm. So if you're going from a non-gender base and now you're expecting me to use pronouns that are previously plural and now singular, I need to understand that. You need to explain that to me.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not questioning it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't understand it. Please explain it to me the best you can, and I will do my best to support you in that. That's all I ask.
I will say that I'm kind of a bad person to talk about this, though, because like I am someone who is a firm believer in women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
In whatever women want to do with their bodies, their own choice, and female empowerment and all this other stuff. I will also tell really chauvinistic jokes. I will say very chauvinistic things.
That's, you know what, honestly, I think that's both the blessing and the curse of Gen X, of being a Gen X, even though we're late Gen X, is that we're old enough, we're at that age where we're being old enough to still laugh at that stuff, to still find that stuff humorous, but we're aware enough. I don't want to say woke because I hate that word.
Yeah.
We're aware enough to know, first of all, we probably shouldn't be laughing at that, but we're also aware enough to be supportive of those things, to be, proxy feminists and to, be willing to walk down the street in a gay pride parade to support those, the people who have to suffer through the, the prejudices and bigotries.
Yeah. And it's funny for me because to look at me, I get pigeonholed as this like
asshole.
Well, I am one of those. No, is less like a toxic masculinity kind of figure. I look
on the surface. I mean,
people think I'm going to be like driving my Harley and things like that. Mm-hmm. But like, when it comes to like I have a daughter, okay, and not only do I have a daughter, I also have I have a gay daughter. So I mean, I'm always going to push for not only equal rights for women, but also equal rights for gays and lesbians also, because it's something that is, very personal to me.
It's close to home, yeah.
But I like I said,
we've always
make jokes about things like that. And people get, I think it's also another like overly arching issue in our society is like the oversensitization of everything.
Right. So I guess that could boil down to where do you fall on the Dave Chapelle side of things? Because I kind of almost, as supportive as I want to be for both transgender and LGBT, I kind of don't care that Dave Chapelle made those jokes.
So here's my issues with it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny. Like, Dave Chapelle is fucking hilarious.
Yes.
The jokes are funny. But it's the fact that he has been harping on those same fucking jokes for 20 years. And I think that's where the LGBT community has gotten and has had issues.
So what you're saying is
it's not the jokes, it's the history of the jokes, and it's something that he has done every single show for years.
So what they're asking him to do is not necessarily censor his material, but maybe evolve it a little bit.
Yeah, and
that's fair. I mean, that's fair to ask. I mean, he's still an artist who can do whatever he wants. But
and it's also there's been this like long history of like almost animosity between or almost I don't want to say hatred, but in the black community towards gays and homosexuals.
The black community has had the hardest time adjusting to that.
Yeah, so I think that it's a combination of that relationship because Dave Chapelle is a black man. And like I said, just the jokes, I don't have, like they are funny, and I completely get what he's saying.
Right.
But it's the fact that he has continued to harp on this theme for decades now.
Right.
And it was funny before, but at some point it's like, okay, move the fuck on.
Right.
You
It's kind of like Carlin's seven words you can't say on TV. It's not really. It doesn't have the same punch anymore.
No.
Because the words can be said on TV. A lot of them can be said on TV. Maybe not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't have the same punch anymore. So evolving that, I can understand that.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, and the funny thing is, like, that's not how that discussion was framed in the media.
No, it was framed very much.
This is what Dave Chapelle said. These are the people that hated what he said. Yeah. There's a big argument.
Well, it was more like this is what Dave Chappelle said, and these are the people it hurt, so he must be canceled.
Yeah.
Those are the articles I was reading, and it's like, don't know if I agree with that. I mean, again, I want to be supportive. I'm on the side of the Angels, I hope, as far as this goes, but
I think there has to be.
I just don't see any. I don't see what it matters what a fucking comedian says on a stage.
No. But that's the thing is, like, and that's kind of like going back to the whole, like, yes, I consider myself a feminist, but I also make male chauvinistic jokes about women.
Yeah.
Is because I also believe there has to be humor in society,
in life,
in any situation, because once we take everything so damn seriously, I think is where it actually starts hurting the cause and society.
Right. Yeah. If you can't laugh, I mean, laughter is the only thing that keeps us alive, I think.
Yeah.
And personally, it's like, what's the one human trait that truly is like universal? We all laugh.
Yeah.
We may not all laugh at the same thing, but we all laugh. Mm-hmm. We all cry too, but who the fuck wants to cry?
It depends on the situation.
Yeah, nobody wants to cry.
Yeah,
I don't.
You can laugh so much that you cry.
Right, that kind of crying. I don't even like doing that though, because at that point you're laughing so hard that it hurts. Yeah. And I've done that. I don't, as much as I love laughter, that's too much laughter.
Yeah. But no, it's a great point by Dave Chapelle. Yeah, it's and that's something I completely forgot about until you brought it up. But yeah, I think it has more. Like I said, if you go back and like. And I was in the same boat, when it all first kind of started coming out. I haven't watched his.
I still am, even knowing
that.
that. I still am. Because I don't think it matters. A comedian is just that.
Yeah.
He's gonna go on stage. Either people are gonna laugh or they're not.
Yeah. But no. Like when it all first came out, it's like I said, I was in the same boat. I'm like, oh well, that's Dave Chapelle being Dave Chapelle. You got to be able to laugh at life. Mm-hmm. And then like the more I started thinking about it, I was like. All right, well, that was kind of a theme in this special he did. Oh, well, I guess he had those jokes in that special also.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, I guess he kind of did this in his TV show, too. Well, yeah, Dave Chapelle actually does have a long history of
having an issue with
with the
transgender
specifically. Yeah.
And you're right. And like I said, it doesn't change my mind, because if you don't like it, don't buy tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't watch it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it's on Netflix, don't boycott Netflix. Just don't click on that fucking video, because there's 100,000 other things you can watch on there.
But the funny thing is, like, the people that want to like cancel Netflix and cancel Dave Chapelle, I guarantee those are also the same people that have said in previous situations, "Oh, if you don't like it, just don't watch it."
Right, when it's stuff that they support.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, it's no different than even like on the nerd level. With Gina Carano getting fired from Mandalorian or from Disney, basically.
Yeah.
And people were all up in arms and they canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions. Great. I don't understand what that has to do with fucking Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
And whether you agree with it or not. Did I agree with her getting fired? She was warned twice.
Yeah, multiple times
she had done it more than once. She was asked not to do it more than once. She was contractually obligated not to do it because every Marvel and anyone who works for Disney signs a contract, says that they are going to, outside of work, represent Disney and Disney's policies.
Morality clauses.
Right. So they're not telling you to go out and support the things that you don't like. They're just telling you not to talk about it.
Don't do anything that's going to hurt the company.
Right. Keep your politics to yourself, and that's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And she signed that contract.
Yeah.
So right or wrong, And as much as she was great on the show, and they were developing a whole entire show around her character.
Yeah, she really screwed herself.
She screwed herself, and she screwed other people. Even people who are still supporting her were saying, well, she shouldn't have been fired. She hurt them because she felt her political beliefs were greater than what other people's livelihood is. Yeah. Dave Chapelle is just Dave Chapelle.
Yeah.
If you don't like him, if enough people stop liking his jokes, he's going to go away, or he'll change his jokes.
Yeah. I kind of, you brought up the whole Disney thing, but even like going back to something we were talking about before we started recording in album covers, there's a lot of album covers out there that people think are risque and maybe happen to show a nipple or something like that.
Right.
And if you don't like it, just don't fucking buy the damn thing.
Right. Yeah.
Don't listen to the music.
Well, the argument with something like that, I can kind of see, but it still doesn't sway me. Is say you're walking down the aisle with your kid, and your kid sees it. Your 4-year-old, they're gonna see it. Chances are they're just gonna go, hey, booby. That's what they're gonna do. But you get the parents who goes, I don't want my child exposed to that, and you're forcing my child to be exposed to that.
Yeah, but I think that's a stupid fucking argument.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
As someone who is a parent and has gone through situations like that before, I have always looked at it as an opportunity to have a discussion.
Yeah, but these are going to be the same people who are like, don't want their 15-year-olds getting sex ed in school.
I know, but the crazy thing that I have always thought about that is why, as a parent, why would you want other people to frame conversations for your child's life?
Right.
Well, and where fine. There's a nipple. There's an exposed breast. Let's talk about that.
Right.
We can talk about the differences between boys and girls. It doesn't have to get into, sex ed.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to talk about, nipple placement and fake boobs relative to real boobs, or
the fact that fake boobs taste just as real as real boobs. Leave that out.
I've never tasted a fake one, so I can't really say. But my view is my view on that is it's not society's responsibility to raise your child. And there is never going to be a point in your life as a parent where you don't have to, at least, when I say that, meaning rearing age. Yeah. So from birth to, say, 15, 16 years old, and maybe even a little beyond that, but 18, your responsibility is to guide your children to help them understand the things they experience out in the real world.
Because I will say that I think there is, on a certain level, some, not societal responsibility, but your environment has a lot to do with the person you become.
Right.
So I think that there is some responsibility, not on raising the child, but being cognizant of what is in the environment. But it's the parent's responsibility, like you said, to guide the child, guide the beliefs and understanding.
But what the people we're talking about are people who say that it's that business's responsibility not to display that record because their child may see it.
Yeah, well, that's different.
And then it's the same thing with two grown adults having a conversation with each other, but happen to be in public. What they're talking about, as long as they're not screaming at the top of their lungs, whether or not your child hears them say a curse word. Because this has come up in situations.
Yeah, I think that you can kind of cross into I think if you're in a public place having a rather descriptive sexual conversation,
I'm just talking about curse words, because the situation that I'm thinking of occurred and it was just a curse word.
Yeah, I mean, even that, I kind of get some of it, because it can be.
My view is you don't need to govern how you talk. As long as what you're talking about is between you and somebody else, keep it at a respectable level where it's just between the two of you, though. Because a lot of people are like, and I curse a lot. I curse a lot. Yeah, and you curse in public.
And I curse in public a lot.
And I've actually seen you curse in front of multiple children who were not your own on many occasions. So I mean, it
is, but I think it is disrespectful.
It might be,
and I will say that I've been disrespectful in my conversation many a times, but that doesn't make it right. I mean,
does that justify getting a ticket for it, though?
It depends on.
Can disrespect be a ticketable offense?
Depends on what society says it is. I don't think so, but
because in that situation it was.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, I mean, so there had to have been some kind of ordinance against.
Yeah, maybe. But again, the government really can't make an ordinance against language, can it?
I mean, obviously it did.
Because that would go against the free speech thing in general. Because it's one thing to say free speech. The government can't. That's what the amendment's about. The government cannot censor your speech. So
they're not censoring it.
They are. They're punishing you for saying something.
Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of repercussions.
It's freedom of repercussions from the government, though.
I don't know. That's why I said, though, there's got to be
the government cannot punish.
There's got to be some kind of ordinance. I really don't know. I'd have to see.
But still, a government. Even if it's a city, it's still a city. It's the government. The government cannot punish.
I will say that
now, if the parent who hears that and doesn't like it wants to punch me in the face, that's a consequence that maybe
it is illegal.
Is illegal, but it's their right to do it.
But no, like as far as like the cursing thing, I don't give a shit what you say.
Right, I know.
Most of the time,
I was just bringing it up.
Most of the time, I'm not fucking paying attention to your ass anyway. So
right, yeah, me neither. But it was just kind of like I was just bringing.
But
it
no,
up
if you're like sitting in a restaurant, like screaming obscenities, then yeah,
absolutely,
that's a problem.
Oh
like,
yeah, it drives me nuts.
If you can have any kind of, you want to talk about whatever that sticking your fingers in each other's asses. I really don't care. Just as long as I don't have to sit there and listen to your stupid
thank God. I've been holding that conversation in forever.
I was trying to think of something. That's the only
right. No, I agree
going home and drinking each other's piss. I don't care. I don't want to sit there and listen to your conversation, though.
For some reason, I don't have any problem with words of any kind. But volume of words, I do. And I see it at work because when we get the inebriated ones in who curse at the top of their lungs, it's not the words. It's the violence and the disregard for other people that I don't like. It's not the words.
And I'm sure.
And I think that's where I would draw the line.
And that's where I'm kind of getting
right.
at.
And I agree with
obviously,
you.
I don't have a problem with cursing. If you've ever listened to the show, you know that. But it just,
right.
You're right. It's the volume and the way it's
being used. Right. But like, how we talk, sorry, I hit my mic. How we talk, F-bombs are going to be thrown. It's just the way we talk.
I tried to not use it.
But when we're in public, we do too. But you just do it between each other. You're having a mostly private conversation, even though you're in public. I don't have any problem with that. Yeah. And it's not our responsibility if we're doing that. If a child were to accidentally hear us, or a parent were to hear us, and the child probably didn't even care. But if a parent were to hear us and come up and say, "Yeah, you can't talk like that,"
but even in that situation, it's creating the environment to have that conversation with your children.
I agree. I agree 100%. As if I did have kids, I don't think I would have a problem with them using curses as long as they use them properly and in the right frame and time.
I have a problem with people that curse their children.
Oh, of course.
Because I think that's highly disrespectful.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And even like people that curse their children in like casual ways, which I think is like asinine. But
yeah, I would never encourage it. But if it happened, I would say, fine, you can use these words, but you better use them properly, and you better know when is appropriate.
No, I'm not talking about I'm talking about the parents. Like,
right.
Cursing at the
child. I would never curse at my child, but I can't guarantee.
I have,
but I can't guarantee they won't hear me cursing. In general, that's the thing. They're going to pick it up. Yeah. Where the hell did we pick it up, Nick?
Yeah, I know. But I'm talking about like, calling yourself a little asshole,
right,
things like that. Which I think it's.
You got to wait till they're older to call them that. Because that's what our parents did. They never called us assholes until we were older.
Very true.
Right.
At least in front of us.
Well, true. Yeah, we don't know what they said behind locked doors, but behind closed doors. But now, they're very open to say, you know what, you dumb fuck, what's wrong with you?
I openly admit that I'm an asshole.
Right, and you're
all the time.
And I've heard your dad call you an asshole.
Yeah,
and he's called you a dumbass.
Yeah,
and my dad's done the same, and I call him one too. Yeah. I say it goes in reverse.
I'm very open about how that's the funny thing is like I see people that act certain ways in certain situations, and I know when to be respectful and when not to be, but like I am what I am, like
right.
In every situation I'm still me,
right.
I'm still kind of a jerk all the time.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a pushover. I've always been a bit of a pushover,
yeah,
but I try to avoid confrontation as much as possible.
Yeah,
there are things I will not avoid, but in terms of confrontation. But for the most part, I don't want a party part of it.
Yeah, I don't mind confrontation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just where you and I are very different.
Yeah. So 55 minutes into this episode,
I don't think we have a topic anymore.
we had a topic.
We'll save it for another time.
We'll save it for another time, though.
It's not time sensitive in any way.
No, but
the conversation we had because of the Aaron Rodgers thing was a little bit more time sensitive.
Yeah, I think so. And it's just I like having those kind of conversations. It was those kind of conversations is why we even started this podcast.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get us back to doing a little bit more of that, but we will have a topic next week. So
yeah.
If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at lifeinjournalpod@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're no longer on Twitter or anywhere else. So, but the show
Twitter sucks.
Twitter does suck. We're available anywhere podcasts are at. So,
indeed.
Anything else to add, Ian?
No. I'll try not to whisper anymore.
Hello.
Well, see, that was very. You'll probably. I think that even showed up on the thing.
It does. Yeah.
So if I'm going to whisper, I got to do it in a creepy way.
Yes.
Okay.
A very creepy.
I'll try. I don't know how to do creepy very well, but I'll try.
Oh, I doubt that, Ian. I'm pretty sure you know how to do creepy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I guess if I've been caught staring at women in a certain way, it could be construed as creepy,
leering. But all right, man. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you some cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon. Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement. To your eye, niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies. Swear to God.